Jai Guru. Pranams at the holy lotus feet of Pujya Swami Bhoomananda Tirtha ji. Pranams to Swami Nirvisheshananda Tirtha ji. Pranams to our beloved Ma. We welcome all of you to the 108th Global Satsang with Pujya Swamiji. Last week, on the 39th shloka of the third chapter, Pujya Swamiji dwelt on the query we all have. We understand what Swamiji says, that Rajoguna is responsible for the qualities or the defects of desire, hatred, intolerance that we all have. But we were wondering, what do we do about this? And Pujya Swamiji clarified, the first step is to understand that Rajoguna will produce desire in our minds. So what do we do about that? We have to become aware of it. As Swamiji says, desire is blinding, and it makes us blind to our own nature. After becoming aware, we have to make the effort. And so what is this effort we have to make? And so what is this effort we make? Is it pushing away the desire? Is it trying to close the doors on it? No, Swamiji says this will just make it stronger. We have to understand with our intellect the futility of desire, because as each desire gets fulfilled, another one springs up. Or some desires, the more we try and fulfill them, the stronger they grow, like a raging fire. Swamiji says we have to understand the futility of desires. We have to accept that we have them. We have to accept the fact that for all of us, when something gets in the way of our desire, our mind produces intolerance, produces hatred. And having accepted this, we have to sublimate them, not deny them, not try to push them away, but sublimate them. We were all looking forward to continuing this discussion with Pujya Swamiji today. Today is the Mahasamadhi day of Mataji Sulabha Devi ji, which is being observed in the ashram. So in the Global Satsang, we are sharing with you the 6th day of Pujya Swamiji's series on essence of the scriptures. At the end of the satsang, we'll be sharing with you some scenes of the program today in the ashram, which is taking place in the Vijnana Bhavan and Samadhi Mandir. Jai Guru.
Yam Shaiva Samupasade Shivaidi Brahmedi Vedandino Bauddha Buddhaidi Pramana Padavaha Kartedi Nayayiga Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarata Karmedi Mimamsaka Soyam Vo Vidadhadu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Soyam Vo Vidadhadu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guru Udetu Satatam Samyak Ajnana Timiraruna Hari, Hari, Hari. We shall have the 3 times chorus recitation. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect. Close the eyes. Try to feel the expansion in your mind, the entire global expansion. Let the chorus recitation reach everywhere and generate and release its benedictions to every creature upon the earth. Harihi, Harihi, Harihi. Hari Om Tas. In the 7-day session, I thought I will bring a collection of a few texts. The first was the Bhagavad Gita, as we have already seen. But the Bhagavad Gita discussion is not complete unless I also cover one more important portion of it. You should understand the Bhagavad Gita setting is the Kurukshetra battlefield, where Arjuna had come to fight an 18-day war, as it proved to be. And he was totally disabled to do it. He wanted to withdraw from the whole affair and sat unable to stand. And Krishna is trying to retrieve his mind, intelligence, and the spirit. And Krishna did it. Arjuna agreed that I have been restored. I also emphasized that the Bhagavad Gita instructions are unlike the Upanishadic instructions. If that was in the forest solitude, a beautiful interaction between the Guru and the Shishya, one-on-one, here it is totally different. He has to fight, and 4.5 million warriors were present in the war field. Now, this is an interactional gospel. Interactional gospel. The entire message is to live in this world, loving the world, getting involved in activity and interaction. And through the involvement in activity and interaction, you will be able to reach the same level as one totally given to a singular wisdom pursuit through contemplation and reflection. When I say this, many of you will not understand and accept it. Whatever purification and sublimation you propose to have through meditation and meditative absorption, Krishna says the same benefit can be had through interactional sadhana. And what is this interactional sadhana? I told you on the first day itself that the whole sadhana, spiritual wisdom and wisdom pursuit, is a mental, intellectual involvement and pursuit. And I also said the focus of all spirituality is the soul. And what is the soul? It is the presence in the body itself, which is different from the body. Body is matter energy aggregate, but we are conscious, sentient, and vibrant. We cannot derive this sentience from matter and energy. So we are deriving it from the other presence in the body. What is that presence? It is not falling within the object ken. It is not matter, it is not energy, it does not fall within the object. That is why we are not able to realize it. At the same time, you cannot say, I cannot have a touch and feel of it, because you already have touch and feel of mind, thoughts, feelings, emotions, knowledge, memory, everything you have. These are not products or qualities of matter and energy. So we have the capacity in us to sense, to understand, to comprehend what is that inner presence which animates and activates the body. Because it is animating and activating the body, you cannot say the presence is absent at any time. Everybody has this presence. That is why he is living. Our life itself is a proof for it, is a confirmation for it, is an occasion to realize it. Now that realization is not taking place because you are not trying to understand it clearly with rational clarity. Now I am going to say the entire Bhagavad Gita is a science discussing human life, and it tells you a methodology by virtue of which you can win over the world. Mark my words. Win over the world. Win over the world. Bhagavad Gita wants you to live in this world as a master or a mistress of the world, not as a slave or a servant of the world. Let the world be huge, but the huge world cannot touch me or enter me except through the 5 senses which I have. These senses are in my body. I operate them, I control them, I can do whatever I want with my senses. Even if God comes in front of me, I close my eyes, He will have to return unseen by me. God will have to say, Swamiji, I have come, please open your eyes and see me. Because I have the power to close my eyes. I have the power to withdraw my senses. The entire world will go unperceived if only you wish and will. So don't think that world is the master and the greater factor. The greater factor is the senses. Superior to the senses is the mind. Superior to the mind is the intelligence. And superior to the intelligence still is the one that you refer to as the I. So Bhagavad Gita tells you that in the whole of your personality, right from the bodily level, every factor and identity that you have is superior to the world of objects. I don't know how many will hear me properly. Everything in your personality is superior to the objects of the world. It is superior to the earth, superior to water, superior to air, superior to fire, and superior to space. And such a person, why are you lamenting here? See, Arjuna's lamentation completely disappeared and he became courageous and resolved by listening to Krishna. Similarly, by listening to me, at least for 5 or 6 days, should you not become very courageous, and you must have the ability to assimilate all kinds of interactional impacts and outcome? So the first focus, namely the soul, Krishna explained. Natvevaham jatu nasam, natvam neme janadhipaha, nachaivana bhavishyamaha, sarve vayamadav param. Arjuna, I was present and existent before the body was born. And in the body we are all present. And when the body falls also, we are not going to cease to be present. Presence continues to be present. Existence continues to be existence. It can never become counter to it. So this is the first declaration that he made. We are all unborn. Body is born. We are all undying. Body may die. Now this is the identity he provided. So the birth is no problem for us at all. Now, so far as death is concerned, Krishna says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatra namuhyadi. Death is not extinction. It is only a transition. Like so many other transitions the body had. The first transition is from the mother's womb to the outside world. And the moment umbilical cord is cut, the fetus now becomes a full-fledged individual to live and interact, to live in this world and interact with the objects of the world. Then the young age, adult position, then old age, and finally we pass away. So it is only a transition, but not an extinction. Dhiras tatrana muhyadi. The wise man never gets deluded about death. None of you should fear death. It will not come one day earlier. It will not also be one day later. You will die only once. And that once is quite clear and determined. Simply live. Live. Never think of death and never think of birth also. You only know that you are living. Do you know that you are born? And is there anybody who comes and says that I have become dead? So birth and death are not our experience. Don't worry about it. But in the living stage, what can be the formula to live in this world whereby you will be a master? So he says, Matras parshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agamapayina anitya tan tidikshasva bharata. Arjuna, life is an interaction between the senses and your body and the objects of the world around you, including your body. Throughout the wakefulness, our senses are interacting with the objects. Whenever sense and the object, they interact with each other, automatically, irresistibly, unavoidably, unpreventably, Repeatedly, two experiences will occur. One is Sukha, happiness, another is Dukha, unhappiness. Now tell me, are you the author of it? Are you generating it, causing it? No. It is an outcome of the object and the senses contacting between themselves. And the senses alone are there in you. Even if you are left with one sense, you will find interactions are there and Sukhadukhas are there. So Sukhadukhas are not within our fold. It is in the nature of life, the interactional life. Either it will be Sukha or Dukha. The contact takes place at the sensory level and the responses are mental. So the entire world is what? The entire world objects are before the senses. The objects may be innumerable, but the senses are precisely five. So the entire variety of the world gets reduced into five because of our senses. So you tell the world, my dear world, however various you may be, however alluring you may be, when you approach me, I give you only five sensory organs doors. So you become five in the sensory level. Shabda, Sparsha, Rasa, Rupa and Gandha. So where are the whole infinite varieties gone? Does the world consist of a variety or does it consist of only five? Sound, touch, etc. Only five. These five, when they reach the level of the mind, they are reduced to two: happiness and unhappiness. So in the sensory level, the variegated world becomes five, and in the mind level, the five become two. And when you go to sleep, both disappear. Are you following me, my dear intelligent people? Where is the key? The key is in the world or the key is in you? Your senses permit objects to be perceived. Perception takes place not at the object level, but at the sensory level, further down in the mind level, still further down in the soul level, the eye level. So these twin experiences called Sukhadukhas, understand that they are agamapayinaha. They come and go, come and go, come and go, come and go. They don't stay, they don't remain. They will come and go, and both together will not come. Only one will come. If it is Sukha now, it will go. Then Dukha will come, that will go. So you will have Sukha for a period and Dukha for a period. Dukha for a period, Sukha for a period. Either you have both or you have none. Then what do you have to do there? Understand that this is so. In my life, Sukhadukhas are concurrent in my life. They are coexistential with my life. I cannot do anything about it, but I can understand it. And generally you like Sukha and dislike Dukha. You have no ground to dislike Dukha because except with previous Dukha, the present Sukha will not come. Unless you have the experience and reaction of Dukha, its disappearance is Sukha. So without Dukha being undergone, you cannot undergo Sukha. So Dukha brings Sukha. So the Dukha which brings Sukha, is it a friend necessary or not? This is Sankhya Yoga. This is Jnana Yoga. Analyzing things properly and by virtue of the analysis, bring the necessary spiritual orientation, sublimity, enrichment, elevation, expansion and enlightenment in you. That is what Arjuna had. Agamapayinaha, anityaha, they are impermanent. Tanti dikshasva, forbear them. Is there anybody in this world who has only Sukha? Is there anybody in this world who has only Dukha? And does anybody have to strive for Sukha and avoid Dukha? Both are impossible. So what do you have to do? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Then plus what? Understand that this is so. And in understanding it, you get the forbearance. The Sukha ceases to be alluring and the Dukha ceases to be non-alluring. Both of them become equal in your mind. So there is an evenness that grows in the mind. By virtue of the evenness towards both, equanimity towards both, the whole world is conquered, my dear souls. Because the entire world has to give you, cause in you, only Sukha Dukkhas. Whether you have 2 children or 10 children, whether you are married comfortably, you have many buildings as you want, gold also, whatever you may have or you may not have, maybe you are not married, you have only one child, even then, 24 hours of the day, except in the hours of sleep, you can only have Sukha Dukkhas. So tell the world, my dear world, Sukha-dukkhas are caused by my mind, experienced by my mind. I will sublimate them. I will evenize them. When I evenize you, I have conquered you. I have become victorious over you. See, Gita gives you a formula of developing equanimity, evenness towards the transitory Sukha-dukkhas. Transitory Sukha-dukkhas. And when this evenness becomes stabilized, that itself becomes liberation. इहैवतैर्जितः सर्गो येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थिताः. येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः, whose mind is sufficiently established in samya, in evenness. Ihaiva taihi jitah sarga. This whole world is conquered by those people who have a sufficient measure of evenness towards Sukha Dukkhas. Ashtavakra Samhita, does it speak a different matter? No, it does not. It says what? Ego Vishuddha Bodhoham. Ego Drashtasi. You are the witness, not the witnessed. The witness cannot become the witness. Does Gita say so? Yes. Na kartrutvam na karmani logasya srijati prabhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. God has not created in anybody a sense of doership, what you call kartrutva. That is, I am the cause, I have done, I have to enjoy, I have to suffer, I have incurred bondage, I have to get liberation. All these predications are absolutely wrong. Vibhu has not instituted in anybody kartrutva or karmani, different types of duties, performances, etc. Logasya srajati prabhu. Na karma phala samyogam. He is also not linking anybody with the result of what he has done. So we neither have kartrutva, nor do we have bhoktrutva, nor do we have duties and performances to be done. Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukritam vibhu, from 5th chapter. God does not take away either anybody's sin or virtue. All the talk about sin and virtue is due to ajnanena avrutam jnanam tena muhyamti jandavaha. Without having right understanding, suffering from wrong understanding and delusion, we are attributing many things, assessing many things. Now what we must have is a right understanding, right understanding. Now with this knowledge, can you live in this world? Yes, this knowledge is to live. It is to live and make life comfortable, easier, more glorious. Where is it mentioned in Bhagavad Gita? It is mentioned in the 5th chapter, shloka number 8 and 9. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavid. Tattvavid, the knowledge, the knower of truth. Naiva kinchit karomiti. I am not doing anything at all. He thinks in this manner while doing everything. What are the things he does? Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, Pralapan, Visrajan, Gridhan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Nabi. 13 verbs are mentioned here. While seeing, while hearing, while touching, while smelling, while eating, while moving, while sleeping, while breathing, while talking, while leaving, while holding, while winking. Is there any other activity beyond this? While engaged in all these activities, indriyani indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan. The senses evolved by nature and the objects also are evolved by nature. It is the senses and the sense objects, both are products of nature. They interact between themselves, meet each other. Therefore, what do I have to do? I have a body, that is why I live. I have a tongue, that is why I taste. By old age, when the salivary buds are all useless, then I will not have any taste at all. Our eyes can lose vision, ears can lose hearing. So it is all my body. I speak because of my tongue. I see because of my eyes. I think because of my mind. I understand because of my intelligence. I assert because of my ego. So all my activities are attributed to the senses. And at the eye level, I don't do anything. This is the way a knower of truth lives and moves in this world. Is there any difference between Ashtavakra's position and Bhagavad Gita's Krishna's position? No, no, no. Now we are going to discuss, as I told you, entering into the mind. The mind arena we are trying to probe into, enter into. Now, will you all come with me when I discuss? See, we are interacting between, in the intelligence level, we are interacting between us. Now, this is a knowledge that is provided. What is the best contribution that anybody can do to humanity? I think it is giving knowledge, sharing knowledge, imparting knowledge, instilling and infusing knowledge. Everywhere. Can you imagine human beings without knowledge, without schools and colleges? Now we are probing into our own inner personality. The first verse is Drashtadrishya Samayoga. We spoke about Janaka and Ashtavakra, sage Ashtavakra. Janaka was a great king. He was ruling, sitting on the throne. So as usual, he also had hunting as a sport. So one day he went to the forest for hunting along with a large group, a retinue. When he was moving in the forest, suddenly he heard something. It was a song. And it was a song severally and jointly sung by a set of sages who were passing in the sky. So he left his retinue and went to a quieter place and started listening to the song. This is called Siddha Gita. A Gita, a song sung by enlightened people, seers. Just imagine, what is this? We can have so many Gitas, many Gitas are there. The subject of discussion is ultimately the truth. Otherwise, the setting and the discussion will be done, the conversation will be built on different pillars, that's all. Drashtadrishya samayogad pratyayananda nishchaya yastam swam atma tattvotham nispandam samupasmahe. We can have many different praises, many different kinds of worship also. In the Siddha Gita, what is the type of worship they are offering? Nispandam samupasmahe. We are worshipping the unvibrating presence. We are worshipping, are you with me? We are worshipping the unvibrating, the unmoving, motionless presence. Normally you worship a picture or an idol. Here these people also are worshipping. It is upasana. What kind of an upasana? The mind is employed, the intelligence is there to guide it, and an object of worship is provided, and the whole process is guided within the body. Drashtra drishya samayogad. Drashta means the seer. Drishya means the visible. Whenever you have an experience in the waking state, that experience can only be as a result of a conjunction between the seer, the drashta, and the visible. Are you with me, my dear souls, with your intelligence? There is a samayoga, a coming together, a conjunction. Conjunction of whom? The seer with the seen or the visible. You see an object. Does the seeing take place anywhere 1 millimeter away from the cornea? No. If you have to be seeing, an image has to be formed and an imprint has to be formed in your mind. So, where is the process of seeing taking place? Is it anywhere in the object ken, or is it within the body in the subject dimension, subject sphere? In the subject sphere, what happens? An object is outside. You focus your eyes and take an imprint of the object, and that imprint is formed by the mind. And the imprint is formed not only by the mind but in the mind. So the mind itself takes an imprint and puts it in itself. And there is a conjunction between the mind and its imprint. Then seeing takes place. How better can I explain it to you? Even when you touch something, the same thing happens. Hear something, exactly the same. In the bodily level, there is no experience at all. All experiences are inside, inside, inside. In the sentience, in the sentience, in the sentience. So mind is the source of all experiences. Our whole life is lived in the mind. And whenever in the waking state you have experiences one after the other, it is always, when examined, evaluated properly, it is always a result of a conjunction between two factors. One is the subject entity in you, together with an object imprint which the mind makes. So, drashta and drishya come together within your body. And only when this conjunction takes place inside you, there is a pratyaya and an ananda. Ananda means blissfulness. Pratyaya means a concept, something the mind creates in the form of a thought, an idea, or an imagination. With letters or without letters, it may be an image, it may be a thought. Drashtra drishya samayogat pratyaya ananda nishchayaha yastam swam atma tattvotham. Shall I get up and talk? I want your attention. I want your attention. Don't strain yourself. Neither the eye nor the ear. The words that I utter will automatically penetrate into you, provided you remain in a very simple and easy manner receptive. That's all. It's not that you should be doing like this. Not necessary. You can even close your eyes. So, in all our experiences, especially when in the moments of delight or occasions of delight, what is giving you delight? Does any object give you delight? Certainly not. The objects are resting in their own respective places. You saw a very good garden, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Even the valley of flowers in the Himalayas. You are standing at a distance looking at the garden. All the flowers you have seen, how beautiful it is. Can you say how beautiful it is if you did not have eyes? And where are the eyes? On your face? Do they ever travel? No. Did the garden travel? No. Then how did you see it? With the help of the eyes, mind took an imprint of the garden, and the imprint was formed inside you. Where it was formed? Was it formed in the muscle of the body? the blood of the body, the marrow of the body, the bone of the body. No, no. Mind is associated with the body, but mind is not a part of the body. It is sentient in character, you can say. So it is in the sentient permeating spirit, that level, this conjunction is taking place. So what gives you pleasure here? Is the garden from the outside level, is the garden giving you the pleasure, or the conjunction that has been made within you between the seer and the visible? I wish I should tell everybody in this world this fact. All of you are educated. Can you ever set aside a syllable of what I say? Is there any experience called external experience, sensory experience? No experience is caused in the sensory level. Every experience is inside, not in the bodily plane, but in the sentient plane. There, the seer, with the instrumentality of the senses, takes an imprint, and that imprint is formed inside in the sphere of the mind. So the seer comes into contact with the seen, the visible. That conjunction is giving rise to pleasure and joy. Now you tell me, what is the source of joy? What is the source of joy? Until an imprint is formed within your mind and a conjunction between the seer and the seen takes place, there cannot be an experience. So what causes you experiences and joys? Your own mind, your own consciousness. If this is so, why should you be dependent upon the objects to get deluded? All the objects are perishable. From the perishable objects, can you have a lasting happiness? I will make a primary class student say no. Can a perishable object, a fleeting object, give me a permanent joy? No. So for joy, where should you look to? What is joy? It is an emotion. As an emotion, to what it belongs? It belongs to the mind. It does not belong to the body or the object. So what is the source of all forms of joy? Our mind. So if you want to be joyous, where should you look at? To the mind. Is it right to look at the world? No. By looking at the world, shall I call you an intelligent man or an unwise man? Tell me. This is a discussion. This is an exposition. This is an enlightenment. You cannot flee from it. This wrenches you. I am gripping you firmly. You cannot escape. Experience is inner. And it arises from a conjunction of the experiencer and the experienced, the seer and the visible. So all pratyas, thoughts and ideas are formed by the mind. And these thoughts and ideas alone give you joy or contentment. So these siddhas are saying, we are contemplating upon what? Nispandam samupasmahe atma tattvotham. We find that all experiences, all joys are arising from our own within, from the very beautiful self. The self is the source of all experiences. The self divides itself into two, the subject and the object. And the object imprint is taken by the subject. And then it forms a kind of a conjunction. So this conjunction gives rise to blissfulness. And the conjunction is an inner process and an inner outcome. So the very source of it is that wonderful, immovable presence called the self. We are contemplating upon it. We are worshipping it. We cannot use a flower. We cannot use pudding. We cannot use 56 items of worship. All that can be done is to reflect upon it in the manner in which this shloka suggests. Drashtadrishya samayogat pratyayananda nischaya yastam swam atma tattvotham nispandam samupasmahe. Many of you will say, whenever I sit for meditation, mind runs. Will the mind run? If the mind were to run, it has to be displaced from your inside. Suppose the mind goes away from you, will it ever return? You have to be taken to the cremation ground. Mind runs. Which mind is running? A thought arises and subsides, arises and subsides. The mind doesn't travel. It cannot travel. The universe as a whole does not move. Everything within the universe is moving. So there is an immovable presence in you. That immovable presence, we are trying to reflect upon it, contemplate upon it, imagine it. So the process of worship is an inner contemplation upon the whole process of the emergence of joy, the conjunction that precedes it, and the effort of conjunction, linking up the subject and the object. Now, if thus the source of joy is within, my question, the source of joy is within. Source of joy is within. Should I have any desire for any object of the world? You should answer me. Why are you desiring to have an object, thinking that it will give you joy? If joy is emotional and it belongs to the mind, can an object give you joy? You desired the object, and the desired object has been had. Therefore, you feel, I have the object. So the desire was mind-made. The effort was mind-made. And the realization that I have got the object is also mind-made. So the whole process is still resting on your mind. If this is the truth, should I not approach my mind itself directly and ask the mind to produce the joy? Why are you producing it after seemingly getting conjuncted with the object in your mind? Why don't you generate the joy without this conjunction? Without this conjunction. That is what is meant by meditation and meditative absorption. Swamiji, can such a joy be had? Yes. You are sleeping every day for 7 to 8 hours. Are you not sleeping comfortably, joyously? Do you have any kind of a need or desire? You may be fasting, you may be starving. Even when, suppose you have slept, you will not have hunger or the impact of it. It is so involving. Every cell of your body is involved in sleep. Every cell. It is so involved that it is very difficult to wake up a sleeping man. It is so involved. Where from that joy is coming? It all comes. Is it from conjunction or no conjunction? So they say, drishta darshana drishyani tiktva vasanaya saha darshana prathama bhasam atmanam samupasmahe drishta drishya drishta darshana drishyani drishta darshana drishyani tiktva vasanaya saha. All our desires towards the objects, in terms of this analysis, what do they mean? They mean that drashta, darshana and drishya. Drashta, the seer. Darshana, the seeing. Drishya, the to be seen, the visible. They say, what becomes the drashta? Something in us is trying to see and becoming the seer. Then it gives rise to the seeing process. As a result of which the outcome called knowledge seen arises. So all the three are within our mind, within our body. It is a threefold process. This process is taking place not outside, inside. So they say, it is this process that deludedly puts us to a number of desires. We have understood the truth now. It is from a conjunction of the seer with the visible that all joys are produced. Therefore, the key for everything is inside me. So I will not allow my mind to be divided into the three. My focus from now on will be, my dear mind, do not enter into a divisional process, as a result of which you will take the position of the drashta, the seer, and you will start thinking about the visible and then finally come to a position of seeing it. So, all the three are processes of the singular presence within us. Understanding in this manner, all the desires we abandon. Desires for what? For different objects, only to create a conjunction within you. So the joy we get and the objects we seek have no relationship. Objects are all outside the body and joy is inside the body. So the inner joy, how can the outer objects provide? It is our own mind's association. So they say, drashtra, darshana, drishyani tyaktva, vasanaya saha. All our desires are for the drishya. The drishya is again a formation within my mind. As is the drashta formed, so is the drishya also there, and the darshana. All these are inner processes. Thinking in this manner, we abandon all desires willfully. Then what will you think about? Please follow me. Darshana prathama bhasam atmanam. We contemplate upon the self. What is that self? What is that self? Which became the seer, which brought about the drishya and which resulted in seeing. So that pre-thinker entity and presence we contemplate upon. Something in you becomes the thinker, and the thinker gives rise to thinking, and the outcome called thought is born. Thought is not born. Don't think that thought by itself comes. It is preceded by a thinking process, and the process arises from the thinker. What becomes the thinker? What becomes the thinker? In sleep, do you think? No. But are you not still alive? Yes. So are you a thinker? No. Thinker is only when I wake up. So there is a pre-thinker presence, a pre-thinker entity. I understand. I understand the thinker. I understand the thinking. I understand the thought, the outcome. Keeping these three in my mind, I go to the first factor, the fourth factor, darshana prathama bhasam. From where the whole understanding, the whole awareness starts. That is the self, atmanam samupasmahe. We are worshipping the Atma by relating it to the threefold division. Thinker, thinking and thought. And then understand that something has become the thinker in me. What is that something which became the thinker, gave rise to thinking and produced the thought? So I will go to that non-divisional, non-dual, that preceding factor. Darshana prathama bhasam atmanam samupasmahe dvayor madhyakatam nityam astinasti pakshayo prakashanam prakashyanam atmanam samupasmahe. Is it only available as a pre-thinker presence? No. It is available in other places also. They are pointing out one factor. Dvayor madhyagatam nityam astinasti pakshayo. You say, yes, there is. You also say, no, there is not. The is as well as is not, both are ideas expressed by you. I am looking for my spectacles. It is here. So when I looked at the table, the box is there. So I say it is there. I look at the same table and then say it is not there. When I say it is there, and when I said it is not there, in both, my presence is what is revealing. When a thought comes and it disappears, another thought arises. In between the two, the subsidence of one and emergence of the subsequent one, there is a madhyagata. So, astinasti iti pakshayoho dvayoho madhyagatam. This madhya, this middle entity, this middle presence is nitya. It is upon that the yes and the no propositions are built. Prakashanam prakashyanam. That is the one source which illumines all the illumined items. Who reveals the thinker? Who reveals the thinking? Who reveals the thought? So something other than the three is there. So that one revealer, that one luminosity, that one effulgence, which reveals all the illuminable or illumined, that is the Atma we contemplate upon it. Contemplate upon it. Yasmin sarvam, yasya sarvam, yatas sarvam, yasmayidam, yena sarvam, yadhi sarvam, tat satyam samupasmahe. Bah. What is this factor? Is it something negligible? Because it is inside the body, as the body is limited, is it also limited aspect? Certainly not. Yasmin sarvam. The whole existence is resting upon it. Yasya sarvam. The whole existence is an emanation from it. Yatas sarvam. Wherefrom all things have had their origin and prevalence. Ismaidam. For whose sake is everything? Yena sarvam. By which all are pervaded. Yadhi sarvam. What you call all is this very one item self. That's satyam samupasmahe. I have been pretty fast. I am not explaining it in detail. That's satyam samupasmahe. That truth we are worshipping, we are contemplating upon. See, our country is great, my dear souls. Our country is great. What do you think of a contemplation of this kind? Tell me. Unfortunately, this should be done by nuclear scientists, space scientists, all the research scholars. It is those people who should do it. But alas, they don't do it. We forest dwellers alone do it. Forest dwellers. Forest dwellers. Janaka could not think of it remaining on the throne. He had to go to the forests. And that too, accidentally, he went for hunting as a part of the royal expedition. But in between, he happened to see it as a diversion, not as a pursuit. All of you should spend your time and think about it, because this is the higher research, the subject research, the valid research. Others are dealing with perishable elements. This deals with the imperishable. So the imperishable science, yasmin sarvam, yasya sarvam, yatas sarvam, yasmayidam, yena sarvam, yadhi sarvam, tat satyam samupasmahe. What do you think? You contemplate upon, and all the manovritis, mental modifications stand dissolved at a time, and you reach at the very source. What is that source? My dear souls, it is the source of the whole creation. Where are you to find it? Within your heart, within your body, within your body. As the source of the thinking process, as the source of the thinker entity, as the source of all knowledge, knowing, and knowerhood. If you sit for 5 minutes in contemplation, it is considered to be equivalent to 100 years of hard austerity physical. Sit in a place, close your eyes, try to observe the thought process, and finally reach a state of unthinkingness, unthinkingness, unthinkingness. Go beyond the threefold distinction called thinker, thinking, and thought, knower, knowing, and knowledge. Reach a state where the I, you, and he differentiations vanish as ideas in your mind. What a wonderful knowledge is this! According to me, it is very simple and easy, provided you are able to think of it and understand it. I have found it to be so natural, natural. Somehow people don't open it and see. Nobody explains it also. It's such a wonderful process. We are making huge idols for worshipping whom? The universal presence. And where are you throwing the flower? At one point. Bah. Worship for the universal presence. Which presence is inside you and outside you? Does the flower touch it? Does the idol contain it? But this is what we are doing. I am not against idol worship. I am for it. Let it be. But today or tomorrow, you have to understand the truth. The temples are created by man. Idols are formed, imagined by man. Behind all that, it is man's effort, and we have a certain idea by virtue of this temple and worship. Ultimately, it is the glory and the brilliance of the self that is anointed in the idol to make it divine, to make it benedictory. The installation becomes complete when the installing priest takes away the inner brilliance from his heart and installs and infuses it into the idol. And for having lost himself, he will have to do penance by chanting Gayatri, etc. for about 41 days after a temple installation. Then only he becomes again the original priest that he was. This is all written, understand? I shall stop now. Tomorrow, I am going to speak on devotion and Srimad Bhagavatam. Devotion and Srimad Bhagavatam. You will find the talk, though on devotion, it is again a mental intellectual pursuit. Now, this was devotion, worship, what I told you now. But this worship is done solely using the mind and the intelligence. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaja sat and went on listening to Sukha Maharshi. Sukha Maharshi was emitting words and ideas through his poetic delivery. Parikshit went on listening. Whenever he had a doubt, he raised it. It was clarified. So it was a mental intellectual pursuit for Parikshit for 6.5 days. So tell me now, is devotion physical, sensory, or is it mental intellectual? Give me an answer. So tomorrow I shall discuss. Srimad Bhagavatam is the most authoritative version on devotion. There is nothing beyond it. So I will invariably be citing verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and I will give a talk. Let us see. Okay.
Pranam Swamiji. Swamiji had said that he would speak about the transcendental level of consciousness, and Swamiji has spoken. Swamiji, 2 questions had come. One is from Yashaswir Mathur. Puja Swamiji, pranams at your lotus feet. I have been feeling oneness with existence after my daily nididhyasana in the mornings. The feeling lasts for less than an hour. How do I stabilize this so that it becomes permanent? The second related question, Swamiji, is from Ram Senguttuanji.
Wait. Yashvir?
Yashasvir Mathur. Yashvir Mathur.
Yashvir Mathur. Yashvir, I have already written to you a reasonably good letter. When you get it and read it, it will be all right. So I am not answering you here. Yesterday I wrote the letter. It will either it has reached you already or it may. When will you get it? Tomorrow. Within 2 days you will get the letter. So all the directions for you will be there. And we can further correspond if necessary.
Swamiji Ram Senguttuanji had written, this was on the 9th. After Swamiji said that quietude of the mind should be read, he writes that he went through it, including the chapter on mind and its effacement. He wants clarity. He's quoting that it is written that the cessation of thoughts and imaginations are verily mindlessness. Moksha or liberation is the consequence of such mindlessness or mind extinctness. Swamiji, at times my mind is calm, serene, and without any thought for a short time. Does that mean that I am liberated during that short time and then go back to the unliberated state after it? Would you kindly clarify and elaborate on liberation and staying liberated?
You are liberated not only for such a short period, you are liberated throughout your sleep. So 7 hours of the day you are liberated. So don't look for a 2 minute or a 3 minute liberation by meditation. Whatever experience you have is good, nourishing, encouraging, but what you should attempt is your mind should become fully free throughout your life. I already explained it. Pashyan, Srinvan, Sprishan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan. You are in the midst of activity and interaction, but you still feel that the I in you is something which does not act and which is not bound by any kind of an action or a reaction. That realization you must have. In order to have that realization, what should be done? Sadhana should be done. What sadhana? Mento-intellectual sadhana. And what are the elements involved there? Vasanakshaya vijnana manonasha mahamade chirakalam samabhyasta bhavanti phalada mune. Vasanakshaya, attenuation of all kinds of latent tendencies and desires. Vijnana, full spiritual wisdom, where all these questions are clarified and you have no doubt, full clarity. Manonasha mahamate. The mind itself gets dissolved. And you have in the place of the mind something called pure sattva. As long as you have desire and following constrictions, it is called the mind. When the whole of the desire and the other constrictions goes, then it is not called the mind. It is just like the sea salt. Sea salt will be sometimes very blackish. You boil it, remove all the dirt. Finally, what will be the color of the salt? Pure white. Similarly, now it is the muddy color water like mind. When it becomes clear, absolutely, you cannot call it a mind. So we call it pure being. So you must have the pure being. Then you will be liberated forever. That is the goal. All of you attain it. Why don't you try for it? When your mind becomes quiet and all the thought and other jhamela confusion is gone, certainly you feel free and relaxed. That is a small portion of liberation. That's okay. Peace be. So that mind and the intelligence will have to be reformed, refined, sublimated, enriched, elevated. That refinement should come. Refinement of the mind and the intelligence. When qualitative enrichment is had, that quality will remain with you. Qualitative enrichment. Suppose you meditated and you got a merger for half an hour. That half an hour merger is not going to come along with you. The moment you break away, it is gone. So, what will stand with you is the qualitative enrichment and refinement you are able to build into your inner personality. Try that. If necessary, you write to me, I shall write to you and give you the direction. Uh, Some more time is there?
One more question. Swamiji, this is from Sri Carl Selden. Dear Swamiji, first of all, many thanks for all the efforts from you, Nutun Swamiji, and Ma Guru Priyaji, and the whole ashram team in enabling this retreat to be online. It is wonderful for me, who is based in a rural village in northern England, to be able to participate. My question is this: the Gita scenario of Arjuna having to fight the Kauravas and losing heart because of his relatives and teachers on the other side seems to be a little bit contrived compared to a real life scenario, because it is a clear cut situation in which the Kauravas have behaved immorally. And, as you said in your talk, the Kaurava army were there of their own volition and trying to destroy the Pandavas. However, take a real world situation where the situation is not so clear cut, such as the two world wars. Many of the individual young men on the battlefield in these wars did not really want to fight, but were forced into doing so by their own governments, with threats of being shot for treason if they didn't. I would not want to face a decision to have to kill such men, even though I understand intellectually the concept that Krishna expounds of the body not being the real thing, and even having glimpsed the Atma in my own meditations from time to time. The nature of someone trying to follow a pure and sattvic lifestyle is that we don't even want to kill an animal for food or a worm while digging in the garden, because we have work to develop compassion for the whole of nature. And this then arises spontaneously when we observe or anticipate suffering. So I would still be conflicted if I were faced with having to kill another man without knowing their motivations. Some religions, such as the Quakers, who were well respected by Mahatma Gandhi, have for this reason adopted a peace testimony, such that they consider all killing to be wrong. Would you please shed your light on how to resolve this conflict in a real life situation? Many thanks and heartfelt regards, and please forgive me if I have not adopted the appropriate protocols of address, as I am not familiar with those.
What is his name?
Tony Selden.
Tony Sheldon. Mr. Tony, your question is very long. I shall clarify it completely to your satisfaction, provided you can listen to me and listen to me sufficiently well for sufficiently long. Now it may not be, but still I will give you some highlights of the whole point. See, though Bhagavad Gita is a war field dialogue, it is not a war dialogue. This you should understand. It's a war field dialogue. The impending war occasioned it, it is true. In some places he says, therefore Arjuna, you fight. But very soon the dialogue has got expanded, elevated to such an extent that it includes and involves all the activities and interactions. Except in a war, the question of killing does not come. Bhagavad Gita is applied to our life. Our life itself is the war. We are interacting with the world. In the interactions, we have a number of challenges, a number of provocations, confrontations, etc. All of them are ultimately mental. Any problem is a mental problem, and the solution is with the intelligence, in clarity. So, Bhagavad Gita is not a war dialogue at all. The question of fighting comes only in front of the other fighters. Every soldier in that assembly, 4.5 million, every soldier had come with a personal individual resolution to kill the enemies or get killed by the enemies. Nobody wanted to go alive without having won the war. So they had two objectives, either to win the war by killing the enemies or to drop dead. These were the objectives they had. And everyone individually had it. In such a situation, Arjuna was asked to fight, that's all. But Bhagavad Gita is not for that. He says, any karma, any activity that you perform it, tasmad asaktas satatam karyam karma samachara. Asakto hyacharan karma paramapnodi purushaha. Where is the killing involved? None of us is supposed to kill, and we are not going to also. The killing comes only in front of the defense services, not in front of the others. I am of opinion that a policeman should not fire at the civilian subjects. He is a policeman. He is not supposed to meet unarmed people and beat them. Police must have some other methods of dealing with civilians. There, the armies, both of them are equipped with mortal weapons and they have come to employ them alone. In the instance which you reported, the trouble is that who should join the military? Only such people who have got the fighting spirit should and need join the military. If they have joined the military only for getting a salary, but they don't have the spirit of fighting, it was a wrong choice. And was
Swamiji, he's saying that they were drafted. When the country goes to war, then you are forced to join. There's no choice.
that is what I am saying. Even in the drafting, there are acid tests to find out whether a particular man has got a fighting psychology or a resenting psychology. So I am told whether it's correct or not, I don't know. They will undergo very high degree of examination, and if one has got such a mind that it is not prone to fight at all, he will not be drafted. So that is an area where we have to speak with a different background, knowing matters better. I may be able to speak about it, but not now. So what I want to say is whether drafting is right or not, under democracy, whatever legislation is passed and whatever is the government authorized by, are all of them proper or improper, is a very, very crucial question, and we have to answer it in all patience and taking enough time. So, Bhagavad Gita is not a war dialogue, it is a warfield dialogue. And only some portions of it are addressed to Arjuna. Otherwise, you will find it is addressed to the whole humanity, where they have their activity and interaction. And Bhagavad Gita deals with all activities and all interactions, including war, you can say. But the war is a very, very rare incident in human life, not a common incident. So I think Bhagavad Gita tells you only about the interactional sadhana, where, as I explained, you have to sublimate your Sukha Dukha reactions. If you are able to sublimate your Sukha Dukha reactions, you have won over the world. Because the world has only to deliver Sukha Dukkhas to us, nothing else.
Swamiji, should we conclude for today?
Yes.
Before Swamiji chants the concluding shloka and Omkara, we wanted to let you know that tomorrow is the concluding day of the retreat. Puja Swamiji, Nutun Swamiji and Ma would be concluding their individual sessions, and after Puja Swamiji concludes his session, in the ashram, the Gurupoornima Retreat has a concluding session. This is a very important session for us where we request Nutun Swamiji and Ma for their reflections, and also some of the devotees and ashramites would also share their reflections on the retreat. Since none of you are here with us physically in the ashram, we are sending out tonight a feedback form for all of you to share your reflections and areas where you feel we can improve. We would request you to take the time to fill out the form and send it back to us in the forenoon tomorrow. And some of the sharings would also be read out during the concluding session. So the session would be after Puja Swamiji's session, and we expect it to last till about 8:45 tomorrow evening. So please do come prepared to be a little longer tomorrow evening. The feedback form would be sent tonight. We would request you to send it back to us before 12 noon tomorrow if possible. But in case you can't make it, do send it back later. We are concluding now and we'll see you in the morning prayer tomorrow morning again. Jai Guru.
The message that is delivered in Bhagavad Gita, then equally in Ashtavakra Samhita, don't think it is the least different from a true and wholesome devotional exposition. There is no difference at all in the whole of devotional life. What is important and where should be the focus in the mind and the intelligence of the devotees. Now, Srimad Bhagavata consists of 18,000 Sanskrit verses. Tell me, every word contains an idea. Idea constitutes knowledge. So, these 18,000 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, are they not sharing knowledge with you? And devotees are supposed to read and understand them. So, is it a knowledge exercise or is it something else? Parikshit did only listening and he achieved his goal. Which were the faculties which he employed? He employed his own mind and intelligence. The whole mind intelligence process, the whole mind and intelligence, they were reformed, refined, stabilized, enriched, enlightened, so much so that ultimately he said, I don't fear death, which was my obsession right from the beginning. Was not Parikshit a devotee? Did he not faithfully listen to Shukamuni, who delivered only devotion? And how did he attain the salvation he wanted? So don't think that this is contrary to devotion. Srimad Bhagavata excels in presenting Vedantic wisdom, but coupled with a lot of godliness and devotion. 80% Srimad Bhagavata consists of Vedantic exposition. 80%. 20% is about God and godliness and devotee and devotionalness. So I will take a few verses here and there from Srimad Bhagavatam and I propose to explain what is devotion, who is a devotee, and how does devotional fulfillment and God realization arise. This will be the subject I have in mind to talk about. संवेद्यवर्जितमनुत्तममेकमाद्यं संवित्पदं विकलनं कलयन्महात्मन् हृद्येव तिष्ठ कलनारहितक्रियां तु कुर्वन् अकर्तृपदमेत्य शमोदितश्री कुर्वन् अकर्तृपदमेत्य शमोदितश्री. Hari, Hari, Hari. We shall have the conclusional recitation of Omkara. Hari Om. Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. So, this was the sixth part of this wonderful series on essence of the scriptures. Next week, we'll be sharing with you the concluding part of this series. Today in the ashram, as we mentioned at the beginning of satsang, we observed the Mahasamadhi day of Mataji Sulabha Devi. The program commenced in the morning around 10:30 in the ashram Vijnana Bhavan. Pujya Swamiji spoke to us about Mataji. Ma and Nuttan Swamiji also shared. Then Everyone went to the ashram Samadhi Mandir, where we offered pranams and flowers to Pujya Swamiji, pranams and flowers at Mataji's Samadhi, and pranams to Nutun Swamiji and Ma. Harirama Nama Sankirtan was going on continuously, and it was a very divine and blissful atmosphere. Next week, on Tuesday the 20th, we'll all gather together for Nutun Swamiji's Satsang, Voice of Upanishads. On 21st, will be Pujya Swamiji's Malayalam Satsang on the Bhagavata Tattvam channel. On 22nd, Ma Guru Priyaji's Towards Eternal Peace and Happiness. And 24th would be Pujya Swamiji's Global Satsang. As you all know, 23rd, the Satram inauguration day is there. Sabhaniketan is being inaugurated, as well as the whole 21st Satram. All the events are going to be live streamed from the Bhagavata Tattvam channel. So even for those of you who don't know Malayalam, it's a wonderful opportunity to experience the entire Bhagavata Satram live. So do go to the Bhagavata Tattvam channel, and you can go any of the days. The program starts at 4:35 in the morning with the Parayana of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. The live stream will start at 9 o'clock from the lectures and continue throughout the day and conclude after the Nama Sankirtana in the evening. We really look forward to seeing all of you over there. Jai Guru.